Room. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start in on the agenda cases, is one of the new cases being Malprost?
Yes,
Which one?
the 2004.
Okay. And jumping to the unfinished business on Fifth Third, the issue there, Jack.
Sure.
I did not include in the order the accruing fines, the amount of the accrued fine, so it needs to happen as an order imposing fine.
Okay.
And I don't think we have a written notice of hearing. I've heard that the respondent has been in contact, but we need a written notice of hearing so that they know to be here
Sure.
to contest any evidence the city may present.
Right, and if the history on the case that I received just moments ago, I guess, is that the property was confirmed to have met compliance as of, let's see now. Yes, as of, at the end of September, property had achieved compliance. So I don't show a record of whether the costs have been paid on that.
No.
So because there's a finding of violation, which is really the city's main objective on this, I don't know that, we won't hear the case today, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. If you
Sure.
want to notice it, and I'll consider an
We'll
imposition of fines.
we'll talk and decide if we bring it back before the magistrate. Thank you, sir.
And if they didn't comply within the time they were supposed to, I'm happy to impose fines. I just need to have a proper evidentiary hearing to do it.
Sure, understood. We do probably, and we'll talk about submitting an order for the unpaid costs if that remains outstanding.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you can call our first case now.
Case number 2019-1789, Sandy Fu, owner, location of violation 39 through 41 Georgia Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida. Violation St. Cloud City Code Section 24-162A and 40-162. Description of violation: failure to prohibit but rather allowed high grass, weeds above the height of 8 inches, and the property being used as a rental property without obtaining a current landlord local business tax receipt at this location.
Do you swear up in the testimony you give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Are the walkie-talkies new?
No,
Have you worn them in here before?
I usually take mine off. It is. Good afternoon, Pam Neal, City of St. Cloud Code Enforcement Officer. I am presenting this case for the property located at 39 through 41 Georgia Avenue. At this time, I would like to enter into evidence the following items: copy of the notice of violation sent by regular mail to the owner, a copy of the notice of violation sent by certified mail to the owner, another copy of the notice of violation with the new date sent by certified mail to the owner, a copy of the statement of violation and notice of hearing sent by certified mail to the owner, a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, the certified card signed for, a copy of the deed to the property, a copy of the code sections in violation, a copy of the costs incurred if the special magistrate finds a respondent in violation in the amount of $218.90. On July 22nd, 2019, while on routine patrol, I noticed high grass and weeds in the rear of this property. I took 2 photos. On July 23rd, a notice of violation along with photos of the violation was sent by regular mail to the owner. On August 6th, the reinspection was made. The grass and weeds were still not mowed. I took 2 photos.
Is that, just on this photo, is that where the property line runs, between the overgrown and the maintained grass, or is it just a patch of overgrown grass within the property?
That's where the back of the property line is.
Okay.
On August 15th, a reinspection was made and the grass and weeds were not mowed. I also noticed there was no active landlord license for this location. On August 22nd, a notice of violation with the new date was sent by certified mail to the owner, adding the violation for no active landlord license. On September 6th, a reinspection was made. The grass and weeds were still not mowed, and there was still no active landlord license. And I took 2 photos. On September 20th, a reinspection was made. The property was still in non-compliance for the grass and the landlord license. I took 2 more photos. On September 23rd, a statement of violation notice of hearing was sent by certified mail to the owner. On September 30th, a reinspection was made, and the grass and weeds were still not mowed, and there was still no active landlord license. I took 2 more photos. On October 7th, the reinspection was made, and the property was still in violation. Took 2 more photos. On October 10th, a reinspection was made, and the property is now in compliance. I took 2 photos. And the respondent is not here. It is the city's recommendation that the respondent be found in violation of allowing high grass and weeds and allowing the property to be used as rental property without obtaining a current landlord local business tax receipt license at this location. The city would also like to recover the costs incurred in bringing this case before the special magistrate in the amount of $218.90 to be paid within 7 days of the written order of the magistrate as well. And that concludes my presentation.
So they also, they mowed the grass, I can see that. They also obtained the rental permit?
Yes, sir.
What was the evidence that how did you know that they were renting?
Because it's a duplex with tenants. I checked the water.
Have they had a rental permit in the past? Was this a failure to obtain or failure to renew?
Failure to obtain.
And
Because they're
different-
fairly new owners.
There was a different name on the water bill than the name of
Yes.
the owner of the property, okay. Okay, based on the evidence and testimony provided, I will find in favor of the city or find that the respondents were in violation of the city code for allowing grass and weeds above the height of 8 inches. Also in violation of city code for allowing the property to be used as a rental property without the appropriate permit. Find the respondent did cure the violation, but cured it after the time set in the notices of violation for cure, and order the respondent to pay the administrative costs in the amount of $218.90, which will be paid within 7 days of the date of my written order.
Thank you.
Case number 2019-1939, John A. Hummel Estates owner, location of violation 1748 Longleaf Drive, St. Cloud, Florida. Violation, St. Cloud City Code Section 24-52. Description of violation, failure to prohibit, but rather allow an abandoned vehicle at this location.
Good afternoon, Pam Neal, City of St. Cloud Code Enforcement Officer. I am presenting this case for the property located at 1748 Longleaf Drive. At this time, I would like to enter into evidence the following items: the courtesy notice left at the door, a copy of the notice of violation sent by regular mail, copy of the notice of violation with the new date sent by regular mail and posted on the property and City Hall, copy of the statement of violation notice of hearing sent by certified mail and posted on the property and City Hall, a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, copy of the affidavits of postings, the notice of violation sent back, returned to sender, the certified mail receipt, a copy of the deed to the property, a copy of the code section in violation, a copy of the costs incurred if the special magistrate finds the respondent in violation in the amount of $225.30. On August 8, 2019, while on routine patrol, I noticed high grass and weeds and a gray Dodge car parked in the driveway with an expired tag of 8 of 19 and a flat tire at this location. A courtesy notice was left at the door. On August 20th, a reinspection was made, and the grass and weeds were not mowed, and the car was still in the driveway with the expired tag and inoperable. On August 21st, a notice of violation was sent by regular mail. On September 5th, a reinspection was made, and the grass and weeds were mowed, but the car still was in violation of an expired tag and inoperable. I took 3 photos. On September 6th, a notice of violation with the new date was sent by regular mail and posted on the property and City Hall. An affidavit of posting was done. I took 3 photos. On September 23rd, a reinspection was made, and the car was still there in violation. I took 3 more photos. On September 26th, the statement of violation, notice of hearing, was sent by certified mail and posted on the property and City Hall. I took 2 photos on the 27th. On October 7th, the reinspection was made, and the property was still in violation. I took 2 more photos. On October 14th, the reinspection was made, and the property was still in violation. I took 2 photos, and the respondent is not here. It is the city's recommendation that the respondent be found in violation of allowing an abandoned vehicle at this location and to have the vehicle properly tagged and operable or removed from the property by October 30th, 2019, or pay a fine of $100 a day until compliance is met. The city would like to also recover the costs incurred in bringing this case before the special magistrate in the amount of $225.30 to be paid within 7 days of the written order of the magistrate as well. And that concludes my presentation.
When was the overgrown grass cured?
September 5th.
And that was within the time you'd allowed in your most recent notice?
Yes, sir.
And is the tire, or the tires still flat? I noticed that it looked like there's one that was low and one that was completely flat. Are they still flat?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Based on the evidence and testimony provided, I find in favor of the city, find the respondent is in violation of city code for allowing abandoned vehicle. Order that the vehicle be returned to operability and current registration be attached by October 30th, 2019, or the vehicle can also be removed by that date. If not brought in compliance by that date, a fine of $100 a day shall accrue until compliance is met. Also order the respondent to pay the administrative costs incurred by the city in the amount of $225.30, which amount shall be due within 7 days of the date of my order.
Thank you.
Case number 2019-1957, Akshar Kunjay, owner, location of violation, 4002 13th Street, St. Cloud, Florida. Violation, St. Cloud City Code, Section 24-162A, and St. Cloud Land Development Code, Section 3.14.8 and 8.7.2. Description of violation, failure to prohibit but rather allow high grass weeds above a height of 8 inches and is not maintaining the landscaping buffer requirements at this location.
Good afternoon, Melissa Howells, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of St. Cloud. I am presenting this case for the property located at 4002 13th Street. At this time, I would now like to enter into evidence the following items: a copy of the notice of violation hand-delivered to the business, a copy of the statement of violation and notice of hearing sent by certified mail, a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, evidence of mailings, affidavit of hand delivery, the code sections in violation, copy of the deed to the property, copy of the cost incurred if the magistrate finds the respondent in violation in the amount of $209.85. The respondent is not here.
Before you start, I recognize the respondent. Is this the same property that we've had other issues?
Yes, sir.
Different violations, though?
Yes.
You can proceed.
Okay, on August 20th, 2019, I received a complaint by email from the manager of the Oak Shopping Center located next to this property, stating that the grass and landscaping at 4002 13th Street needed some attention. She stated that the grass was high and the landscaping was not being maintained, as well as blocking the stop sign behind the gas station. On August 21st, 2019, I went out to this property and verified all the violations. A notice of violation was created with a certified mailing number attached to it. On August 22nd, 2019, I hand-delivered the notice of violation to the business, to one of the owners of the property, and had her sign the certified mailing card while I was there. We walked the property and went over the violations, pointing out the high grass and weeds, the weeds that was in the landscaping, and the landscaping was not being maintained. It was even blocking the stop sign behind the gas station.
Can I see the stop sign in this picture?
That's the front of the property. There's the stop sign. What date was that on? 9/9. Okay. I gave her a time frame of 7 working days for the high grass and 10 working days to correct the landscaping violations. I did an affidavit of hand delivery. On September the 5th, 2019, a reinspection was performed, and the majority of the grass was cut, but no weed eating was completed, and none of the landscaping was done. I went in and I advised the property owner that it was not into compliance. We walked the property again, and I showed her that what still needed to be completed. She advised that they needed a contractor to do the landscaping, and she had been trying to get one. She also stated that her husband would complete the weed eating by the next day. I stated that I would wait and come back on Monday, September the 9th, to check for compliance, and if it was not into compliance, I would be scheduling this case to appear before the special magistrate. In the beginning of my photos here, that's the very front entrance when you come into the gas station off of the highway. Oh, am I going too far? That's 1014, sorry. Okay, so this was on the 9th, and I explained to her that you can't just whack everything and then just leave all of that sitting like that, you know, with all the weeds in there, because the Oak Shopping Center keeps theirs very manicured, the landscaping and so forth, up to code. And so I walked the property with her at that point and showed her exactly what needed to be done. That was the 10 photos that I took showing non-compliance. On September 16th, a reinspection was made and the property was still in violation. On September 18th, 2019, a statement of violation and notice of hearing was mailed by certified mail to the owner of record, which was signed for on September 21st. I didn't do another reinspection until October 14th, this past Monday, and there were some improvements to the property, but in my code enforcement opinion, I do not believe is in compliance. So I took 9 photographs. They did most of that whacking. They did cut the landscaping to where it's not blocking the sign. I know it's hard to see in the photos, but I still have high weeds in the landscaping. Nothing has been trimmed. I still got branches laying on the ground. And the landscaping is not up to code.
What needs to happen to the landscaping?
Well, I mean, I even pulled the site plan in case she wanted to try and bring it back to what was originally submitted, which is what the code states, but she never asked for it. Basically, what I told her was if she would just get the weeds out of the landscaping and have everything manicured, trimmed, manicured, then I would put her into compliance at this point, because the city's getting ready to go through different zones of the city, and we're going to start making people put their landscaping back to the original site plan. So I didn't want to single her out and make her put everything back to the original site plan that was approved during development. But if you look at, I mean, the landscaping, we've got, you know, some of it's got, and you can't really see it from the photographs, but I've got weeds that are growing out, you know, the top of the landscaping. Nothing's ever trimmed. That landscaping there is probably at least this high, which if they weren't so far off of the highway, I would believe would cause an obstruction to the view, but they're pretty far off. but all landscaping is supposed to be under 3 feet tall. And,
So this is, go back one.
one more, right
That
there.
one.
Uh-huh,
So what you're telling me today is the issue with the landscaping is that where the landscaping is still living, that it's too tall, it needs to be cut back.
yeah, it's not manicured.
I understand that part, but, and why I wanted to.
No, that's a
see here,
tree.
Is this, I can't tell because of the shadows, but there are some other photos in here too, is part of the maybe bigger picture issue with this property that there's landscaping that has died off that needs to be replaced? And if I understood correctly, that there is a plan in place for the city to start addressing that?
Correct.
And that perked my ears up, because what I want to be careful not to do today is to find that the only problem with this property is that the landscaping that's still living is too tall, because I don't want that to come back if, for instance, you go out in 6 months and issue a
Right.
notice of violation for the
Okay.
landscaping not being what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
You've already presented a case on that code section, so I want to be cautious not to find that that's not a problem now.
Okay.
So my leaning, and based on the testimony that you've given and the pictures that I've seen, I can see where this landscaping has died back, and there are places where it needs to be restored. So
Okay.
my preference would be to include in my order at least finding that a violation exists,
Okay.
even if you're not asking for a cure at this time.
Okay.
You have anything you'd like to weigh in on that?
The only thing that maybe I would like to do is then give two different timeframes, like on the high grass, for compliance date, and then maybe go ahead and start with the process of giving her the site plan and giving her an extra amount of time to get it.
And actually, my thinking there was to give a time for cure of the overgrown landscaping.
Okay,
Because obviously that's the most immediate problem.
Correct.
To notate the non-compliance as to the died-off vegetation, and as far as what to require them to do at this point, is to come in and meet with city staff and develop a cure plan. And that at least puts the burden back onto them to do something to cure. And if they don't then follow through with that, then the city can bring this case back to me under the same case style.
Perfect.
And we can proceed that way.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, as I'm looking through this, I think specifically the language of 8.7.2, and maybe this is what you're addressing, is that the property owner shall demonstrate the health and viability of the landscaping, and to make sure that, you're right, and make sure that the health and the viability of the landscape is consistent with the approved plans. So as long as I think they're adhering to that, because I think that's part of the issue of the dying off part, is that that's part of the violation that they somehow need to reestablish.
Yeah, because there's a lot of landscaping missing completely.
Yeah. And I could see that in the photos.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll go ahead and continue with what I have for my recommendation, and then I think that, we'll just go with your findings as far as your dates and so forth. So, it is the recommendation of the city to find the respondent in violation of having high grass and weeds over 8 inches in height, and that the landscaping is not being maintained consistent with the approved plans and requirements of the city code, stating that they are to be maintained. The city would recommend that the respondent have all the grass and weeds, including what's in the landscaping, removed by October 31st, 2019, or pay a fine in the amount of $100 a day until compliance is met, and then we can add on the other one to meet with city staff. Also, that the city would recover the costs incurred in bringing the case before the magistrate in the amount of $209.84 to be paid within 7 days of the written order of the special magistrate.
Okay.
And that concludes.
Based on the evidence testimony received, I'll find in favor of the city, find that the respondent is in violation of city code for having weeds and high grass over the height of 8 inches. Also find that the respondent has not maintain the landscaping according to code, both in terms of overgrown landscaping and missing landscaping. As to the overgrown landscaping and the overgrown grass and weeds, I will order compliance by October 31st, 2019. If not in compliance, a fine of $100 a day shall accrue for each day it remains in violation. As to the missing landscaping, I'm going to order the respondent to submit a plan to the city to return all missing and dead landscaping to their original landscape plan within 90 days. And by, I mean, to submit the plan within 90 days.
Okay.
And additionally, order that the respondent complete all landscape restoration within 6 months.
Okay.
Also order that the respondent pay the administrative costs incurred by the city in the amount of $209.85, which amount should be due within 7 days of the date of my order.
Are we going to put a amount on after the 6 months or rehear?
Rehear.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
And we talked about Fifth Third Bank, so you don't have to call that one, and they've null pros 2019, 2004, so you don't have to call that one. Any new business?
No, sir.
Our next scheduled meeting is November 20th, 2019. That's the week before the holidays, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we, did we discuss not having a meeting in December?
Correct. The next one after that would be in January.
Okay, so
Okay.
he's aware of that.
No, I didn't know, but that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we're implementing a new software program, and we're gonna go live,
Okay.
in the end of November, so December's gonna.
Is it gonna change all of your notices and everything?
I hope not.
They usually do.
Let's hope.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Anything else from the city?
No, sir.
We are adjourned.
All right, ladies.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.